What is up, everybody? Welcome to Wine Talk with Tesh. I am very excited to have all of you guys here for this one because this is the first Wine Talk with Tesh since winewithtesh.com went live. And I gotta tell you guys,
Woohoo!
Joni's in the back
That's
hollering. I
exciting.
appreciate it. I appreciate all the love, guys. Everybody who has come together to show support for the new business, for me to get it off the ground, and for me to even make it happen. It's been a long time coming for me to be able to do something on my own, which I've always wanted to do. And COVID just kind of gave me that push that I needed, and you guys' support in all of the ways, subscribing on YouTube, liking all my posts, putting up with all my silly memes. It means the world to me. So sincerely, thank you guys for joining. If you have not already done so, pour yourself some of the Ribolla Gialla. And before we jump into this, I'm going to say a couple of shout outs, just real quick, man, to my guy Jordan, who's behind the camera, making all the magic happen on all of the platforms
Nice.
and Fluid Concepts. Go check them out, give them a like, give them a thumbs up, and show them some love. Also, Jordan runs his own channel, Home Bar Pro, right, Jordan?
Yep, Homebar Pro on Instagram and YouTube.
On Instagram and on YouTube, Home Bar Pro. Go like that, follow him. He's the man. He makes incredible cocktails, and he's taken nothing but incredible care of us, as you can see from the screen in front of you. So, without further ado, I want to introduce you to our guest. She's a good friend of mine. I'm gonna let her introduce herself here in a second as well. But the whole reason why I wanted to have a guest and really have a guest that is a friend is because a lot of winemakers are really boring. And I got none but love for you winemakers. Some of y'all are my friends. Don't take this personal. But I wanted to have somebody who kind of shares my enthusiasm for wine. So Joni, she should be popping up on your screen any minute now. I know she's on Instagram already. Uh, Joni is a good friend of mine. Joni, who the heck are you? Why are you here?
Am I live, Tesh?
You are good.
Okay. Well, listen, Tesh and I have been friends for a really long time. Scott, for me, I think it goes back to when you were the wine buyer at Piatti,
At Piatti, yeah,
right?
most definitely.
So we were both learning about Italian wines and excited about discovering some new things. And anyway, so I got to know Tesh back then, and of course, Tesh has been he's been in a little project ever since. He went to the Salons Group, went to the kitchen, was the manager there, and then he went. Yeah, he was the wine buyer at the kitchen. First, he went to Ella, and then the wine buyer at the kitchen. So anyway, we've been friends and colleagues for a really long time, and that is why I am here. What I do is I sell wine for Regal Wine Company as a distributor, and I sell wine to restaurants and fine wine shops. So this is why we keep running into each other.
So
And in the meantime, I've also, like Tesh, I went through the whole Master Sommelier program just for the certification. So I am also a certified sommelier. Right, Tesh?
I will give you your $20 later for saying that. I appreciate you. Now, Joni and I have known each other since the days of Piatti. For those of you guys who have followed my career and my restaurant life, I was at Piatti, and Joni came in, and her boss Brian was the original person that I met from the company that she's at, which is called Regal Wine Company. And he introduced her, and Joni and I were like, we hit it off. We became friends immediately.
Yep.
And it helps that she has good wine, as you guys are
Yep.
about to find out.
That's right.
So, Joni, thank you for making time for being here. I appreciate that.
Thank you. It's really fun. This is my first
Awesome.
Zoom wine tasting event. Woohoo!
It's dope. It's easy. We just drink at home and talk shit, and it's cool.
Exactly.
So, for those of you who are at home who are doing a food and wine pairing, if you have shrimp scampi and you made it, put it on the plate and start enjoying. And wash it down with some of this Ribolla Gialla as we go through this, all right? And we'll talk about some
Yes.
other things that kind of come to mind towards the end of like each wine. Um, we'll talk about some other things that come to mind in regards to pairings as we go. So first and foremost, Jordan, can you put up the map for Italy? Because we're in Italy. right? For both wines.
Yes, we
Um,
are.
so Joni, the first wine, Ribolla Gialla, you know some fun facts about this grape. Can you tell us about generally where it's grown in Italy, and kind of like what's unique about the grape?
Yeah, there's a lot of fun things about the great Ribolla Gialla. It is well known in this part of Italy, which is the Colia, and also up in other areas of northern Italy, and in Venezia Giulia. It's also a very well known. It's like the grape of Georgia, the country of Georgia, which is right across the the border from Italy. So it happens to have a home in all of those areas there, and it's an ancient grape, and it is extremely versatile. It originated as a sweet wine. It made a delicious sweet wine, and it also makes a fantastic sparkling wine. And it happens to be the original wine that was used for, I don't know if you're familiar with orange wines, which has become kind of a thing lately among geeks and sommeliers trying wines that have had extended contact on the skins. Well, Ribolla Gialla happens to be a grape that a white wine grape that has really thick skin, so it can spend some time in fermentation. So anyway, that's another fun fact about Ribolla Gialla.
Awesome. So you mentioned orange wine, right? And
Mhm.
is orange wine? Do you like orange wine, Joni? This is a very loaded question because you probably sell some orange wine, don't you?
Um, I I have some natural wines in my book.
Uh huh.
I have had orange wines in my book. Right now, I don't. Um, and so here's the answer to that question: is yeah, sometimes they can be quite good. They're always interesting.
That's a really nice way to say that they're not always good. Uh, skin contact is really cool, right? When it comes to red grapes, in my opinion. And there are some exceptions to this, like that are really well done, right? Like Joni just said, obviously Ribolla Gialla is the original grape that was used to make orange wine, that style of wine. There was one that I had. It was a Zinfandel that went through carbonic maceration, and as a result it had this very bright, beautiful, like it almost looked like a dark rosé instead of an
Mhm,
actual Zinfandel.
mhm,
And it was made by what was his name, Chris from End of Nowhere. It was
mhm,
a very unique wine. I loved it. I thought it was really cool, really geeky.
mhm,
Not for everyone. So if you're
mhm.
looking for like,
Right.
if you're looking for something that's like a straight up crowd pleaser, that's probably not for you.
No. Right.
But that being said, if you're feeling adventurous and you want to have something different, I think orange wine is a great way to go.
Try it. It's
Right?
fun. It's fun to experiment. But in the
Yeah.
meantime, what we're tasting tonight
Hmm.
is not an orange wine.
It is not.
Important to make that distinction. It hasn't spent. It's a still white wine from the Ribolla Gialla grape. It is a dry white wine. So and it is made in a beautiful, refreshing style that pairs very well with the dish that Tesh suggested, which is, did you say scallops?
Scampi,
Scampi?
shrimp scampi.
Oh yeah, scampi. Absolutely. It pairs well with all seafood, shellfish, any other kinds of seafood, lighter fish, and the butter sauce that is often accompanied with that will really stand up to this wine. If you'll notice, when I'm sure because you do this with Tesh all the time, you've already poured yourself a glass, right?
Yeah, keep pouring.
Yeah. So let's go ahead
Damn
and
it.
we can look at the glass like Psalms do, and right away you'll notice that the color is quite yellow, like a dark hue. It's not clear like a lot of white wines are. So the reason for that is because the skins are so thick that with a little bit of contact, you're going to pull out some color from that. You're also going to pull out some things, the tannins, to give it a little bit of structure. And some they actually call they don't call it tannins in white wines. What do they call it?
Phenolic bitterness.
Exactly, phenolic bitterness.
Write that
So
down. There's
that
going to be a quiz at the end.
so you're going to have a little bit of that in this wine. But you can tell just from looking at it, it's going to be a little bit richer white wine than a Sauvignon Blanc, right? Or a Pinot Grigio, which are also common in the Colio. Let's go ahead and taste it and smell it. On the nose, it smells very rich, a lot of minerals and almost beeswax, right? Okay, and then we'll have a little sip. That is delicious. You can taste all the aromatics that you had on the nose. You can taste those flavors are coming through on the palate. So a lot of floral qualities and like some really pretty citrusy qualities, rich. And there's a mineral note that is on the mid palate there that kind of comes through on this wine all the way through to the end. So that makes it a little bit more full bodied as well. When you say?
Oh, I agree. I think that we lost the Facebook feed there. But
Oh, okay.
Connect here just
I think I'm still on, maybe.
Are you? Okay. Maybe
Well, I don't know. I can see myself, but not you. So we'll talk on the Instagram. Yeah.
That this wine is very, very complex, in my opinion. I think it, like you have that initial sip, and then there we go. Now I'm back. Sorry about that, guys. Some kind of glitch on my computer. Once again, technical difficulties. Oh my goodness. We're back though. So this wine to me, like you look at it, you smell it, and immediately when I smell it, I start thinking like seafood a little bit, right? Because it just kind of like leans in that direction due to like maybe like a little bit like that citrusy, like grapefruit aroma, and you really get that on the palate. I feel like you get like a little bit of a grapefruit, and for me, the complexity of that, like moving into like a little bit of stone fruit and how long it sits on your tongue. For me, like this is totally drinkable on its own. Not your everyday, like I would say, like not your everyday, like something that you just want to slam, right?
Right. No.
Because it just has so much going on, like Italian wines, right? And correct me if I'm wrong, Joni, in this, Italian wines to me, like they're made to go with food.
Right. No, and every Italian will say the same thing, that their food tastes better with wine, wine tastes better with food.
Exactly. So let us know in the comments if you guys have any questions about Ribolla Gialla, which is how it's pronounced, by the way. Say that 10 times fast. And for those of you who are doing a food and wine pairing at home and you guys did make steak and shrimp, let me know how this is pairing up with the shrimp.
Yeah, tell us how it works out.
Me myself, I had a sweet potato and lentil chili for dinner because I'm tired.
How does it pair with that?
Not good. It's actually not bad, but it's you know, I'm tired of looking at my double chin on this camera, man. Y'all making me self-conscious every time we do one of these. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
So you do? You do?
I know what you're saying. We all have to worry about that when we're in this business.
I know, right?
I do have a comment in the chat that Nora smells hints of tea.
Hints of tea. What kind of tea? Tea is very it's a broad subject there, Aunt Nora. What kind of tea are you smelling? Like chamomile?
Is she telling us? I just think, you know what else I love about this is that after your last sip, it just your mouth is still watering, so it just makes you want to have another glass, doesn't it?
Agreed. Oh, you know what? Something that we didn't even talk about. We didn't even talk about the winery. Let's talk about
Helena. Well, right. Okay. So the winery is Tenuta St. Helena, and it is in the Colia, as I was talking about before, which is a really unique part of northern Italy that has a lot of minerals, a lot of it's a former seabed that's been raised, and so a lot of the soil has fossils, and that
wine, right?
it gives you a lot of it gives you saline. It also gives you just the mineral, just the overall mineral flavors on the mid palate. And actually, it is near the sea, so you get the sea, that kind of salty flavor, the salinity from the sea itself, from the air, the sea breezes that are coming in. So, but the name of the winery, Tenuta de Santa Helena, is named after. There's actually a town that the winery is in called Santa Helena. So it is it's named after the city, the little small village, and this you'll see the archway on the bottle. That is an ancient Roman archway that is on one of the monuments in the city. So it's sort of an homage to the ancient quality and the importance of this grape to Roman times.
It's really pretty too.
It is.
Yeah, very, very beautiful.
I did get a response from Nora. Black tea.
Black tea. All right, cool. I feel it.
Okay.
I feel it.
Then on the nose.
See, for me, it's a little bit more floral. For me, it's a little bit more like chamomile-like.
Yeah, floral. I'm liking the floral quality, or the floral call, and also I said earlier, I don't know, I'm getting a little beeswax in here. I don't know if that's just
for
me.
sure. No, that's not just you, for sure. Y'all picking up on that beeswax? I don't know why I got so aggressive about it. It just felt right in that moment. Let us know how you guys like it. Let us know how it's pairing with the food. I know some of you guys are probably trying to eat. That's okay too. Ribolla Gialla. Don't sleep on that. Really good Italian wine. I think it's amazing. Incidentally, we did sell out of this wine, right, for this event, which is incredible. We actually sold out of both wines on this, so this is dope. And for moving forward, actually real quick, while we're finishing our glasses and as we're transitioning into the next wine, for those of you who like to participate and like to follow along with all the Tesh Talks, the next one will be in 2 weeks from today. It'll be on November 18th at the same time at 6:30. And wines are already up on winewithtouch.com. So all you got to do is go over there, place your orders. I'll get them to you however you decide to pick them up, if you want me to deliver them or if you want them shipped. I can do all of that now. So what else? What else can I hit you with? What kind of plugs can I get for the business? Oh, gift cards. Gift cards are live now. E-gift cards are available on the website. Joni, how much wine do you have left in your glass?
I'm having technical difficulty. I'm just having trouble with my phone staying straight up. We'll just do it like that.
All right, cool.
So I do have a couple just comments, not questions, but comments in the chat.
All right.
Nora definitely gets the beeswax.
Okay,
and,
cool. Thank you, Nora.
Mallory is saying that it pairs really nice with a Halloween Snickers bar.
There you go.
Halloween Snickers bar.
I don't know. I think she ought to save that for the Martoccia.
Mallory, what I want to know is that leftover candy or did you go trick-or-treating? That's what I want to know. I know you don't have kids yet, right? So I'm just curious where you're at on this spectrum.
And a couple other food pairings. Eduardo says it's pairing with shrimp perfectly.
Beautiful, Eduardo.
That seafood
just
comment.
Like you.
And then Nora is having it with butternut squash ravioli with truffle oil.
I think that would be delicious too.
Yeah.
I was gonna have a little pasta with.
Sorry, go ahead, Joni.
No, I was gonna have a little pasta with butternut squash in it, and I didn't get around to that. But I think that's a nice pairing.
Yeah, for sure. The nice thing about a white wine with this kind of richness is it has range when it comes to pairing.
It does.
Right? Because you would think that there might be some dishes you might kind of be like, oh, I don't know if that'll go well with that. But like, I mean, if you put chicken in front of me, I wouldn't say no to this wine. I think it'd be really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite lovely.
All right. So next wine. Yeah, Martoccia, Poggio, Apricale. If you guys have that bottle, which you should, most of y'all bought them all in pairs. Pour that bottle now. I think we have an image up. Do we have an image of that bottle on the screen, Jordan?
Yeah, there's an image up on the screen too.
Oh, okay, cool. But Joni's being extra Joni's being extra like I used to be. and like, you know, and then I got Jordan. I had to upgrade.
Oh, okay, good.
Also, read the sweater. Whiskey helps. Okay, so if you have the Martosha Poggio Apricale, actually, Joni, this wine comes from an incredible winemaker, and has some pretty incredible history to the wine and what goes into the wine. Can you tell us about the Poggio Apricale while I finish my glass?
Yes, of course. So Luca Brunelli is the winemaker. He is from this a winery family that go back multi generations from the 1400s, actually, and he's getting to be quite a hot shot in Italy for making beautiful Brunellos. He just got a nice score on his latest Brunello with Wine Spectator and Wine Advocate, 94 points.
Joni, what is Brunello?
Okay, so Brunello is one of the noble wines of Italy. It is, in fact, Brunello. The Italians really can't decide whether it's Brunello or Barolo is the quintessential noble wine.
They're both really good.
They're both amazing. So in our country, we're like, yeah, both of them.
Yeah. Well, which one's better? We're all yes.
Both. Any day, I'll take it.
Yep.
So, but Brunello is made from the grape Sangiovese Grosso. So it is a special clone from the Sangiovese grape that you all probably are familiar with. It is in Chianti, and just across the border of Chianti is Montalcino, which is where the Brunello, the Sangiovese Grosso grows, and that is the grape that goes into this wine called Brunello. Now, Brunello is made in a style that's always aged in oak for a minimum of 2 years, and then it has some time in the bottle before it's released. And so, therefore, it ends up being this really rich and beautiful and velvety wine that will stand up to a beautiful steak and is coveted. People love Brunellos. There's a lot of lore behind it as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. So by comparison, right? Like this wine was $16, right?
Right.
By comparison, how much does so for example, right? How much would Luca Brunelli's Brunello di Montalcino go for?
Right. Well, Luca Brunelli does make a beautiful Montalcino, and it sells for $110. So you know what you paid for this bottling, and we're talking. It is made. There are 2,000 cases made of this wine, so it's very small production, and it's made in the same care that his Brunello is made. It is made from younger grapes and spends less time, very little time, 3 months in the barrel. With oak, and that's why he's able to make this really light, lush, kind of fruity and delicious wine, and have it available for your baby Brunello, if you will, on a Tuesday night. And actually, you can enjoy it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday night if you'd like, and open up your Brunello on Saturday night.
So baby Brunello is typically called Rosso di Montalcino,
Rosso
right?
di Montalcino.
So we could probably call this like newborn Brunello. This is newborn Brunello.
That's right.
This is fresh.
That's right. This is like ready to go now. Hi world, I'm here. Drink me. That's right. So no, he's right. I was kind of excited. I knew that Luca, the winemaker, made these delicious Brunellos. I didn't really know until I started looking into this that this wine is made from the same grape, the Sangiovese Grosso. So I was pretty excited about that. Shared that with Tesh, and we started talking about these things. Again, winemaking family, multi-generations. They're very particular about hand harvesting, hand sorting, organically grown grapes. All of the care that you take into making a beautiful, sustainable wine that will stand up to the quality for an everyday drinking wine.
Totally. This is an everyday drinking wine. It is like, I mean, you might look at it and be like, oh, it's a 2019 vintage. It's really young. Yes, it is. But it's also drinking beautifully.
Yes, it is.
I fell in love with it when Joni poured it for me, and then after I had already purchased some and put it on the website for this Tesh talk, I found out that Aziz over at the Grand,
Yeah.
he carries it there, and I was like, Aziz is the man, by the way. If you guys don't know him, go check him out at the Grand and at Brasserie Capitale and at Bodega Aioli. Go show them some love because he's a great dude. And
Yes, we
clearly
love him.
has great wine taste.
He does. Yes.
Because we both like this one, so I'm gonna.
Well, and the other cool thing is that this is a wine that he kind of discovered. It's we generally bring this in for these small small events where we have luncheons and we invite buyers to it. And then they special order this wine, but because of COVID, we were not able to have those luncheons. So we brought in a few cases for us to play with. So, which is kind of cool. So it's super unique. You're not going to see this in any store. And that's another thing that's really cool about it.
That is really cool. Those are the kinds of wines that I want to like be a part of, right? It always has been. Even when I ran the beverage program at the kitchen, I was always trying to get my hands on wines that like weren't really accessible other places, right? I feel like the point of me starting my own business and being a personal somm and being available to you guys for whatever is to get your hands on something that you probably wouldn't try otherwise,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
that's what you asked me for when you first said you're opening up and you wanted to do something really cool.
Yeah. Joni, does this wine see any oak at all?
Okay, so that's a very good question. It is fermented in stainless steel, but then it goes into oak for only 3 months.
Okay, cool. So just a touch of oak.
Just a kiss.
And I'm imagining, and this is purely based on price point, I'm imagining it's neutral oak.
It's not in the tasting notes, but I think you're right. I think it probably is neutral oak.
I mean, for those of you who don't know, new oak is incredibly expensive. It's like $1,200 to $1,400 per barrel, right?
Yeah.
So if you're ever wondering, like wines sometimes have a tendency to be so expensive, it's because oak is really expensive. And if it has an oak, like a new oak aging process for like however long, if you take a big bold Napa Cab and you put it in a $1,400 barrel and you can't do anything with that for 3 years or however long you decide to age it, that's an expensive turnaround. It's an expensive time to get on barrels and not have anything come in while you're waiting for it, right?
Right. So this is 3 months in the barrel and 3 months in the bottle, and then it's ready to go.
Beautiful. What I get on the nose with this wine is a lot of sour cherry.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like from that Sangiovese, like it's definitely like a sour cherry just jumps out at me.
That's what we love about Sangiovese.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who doesn't love cherry in their wine? Right?
That's right.
Yeah.
The thing,
Nora's saying in the chat she gets chocolate covered cherries as well.
Oh yeah.
Chocolate covered cherries.
Me too. I agree with her. Who said that?
Auntie Nora.
I agree with you, Auntie Nora.
Auntie Nora's feeling some kind of way. Chocolate covered cherries, like black tea. I love it.
I agree with her.
I think it's a really good call.
Yeah.
I do actually have a question here.
Oh, okay. Hit us with the question.
From Alicia. How many times can those barrels typically be used for making batches of wine?
So those new barrels, right? They don't go away after the first year. The first year is when you can call it new oak.
Right.
After that, you can use it for 2 to 5, 10 years. There's like Foudres, which is like large French oak barrels that get used for like, 7 to 12 years. Like they can get used down the line. So the difference is that new oak imparts a whole different level of like vanilla and tannin to the wine, like baking spice to the wine. It's on like a different level than you would get out of a maybe even like a once used barrel. That's the question. So it's not like one and done. And I don't know of any winery that would take their barrels and just be done with them on the first round.
Oh no, they'll use them.
Either they'll use them, right? Or if they're like strictly like we only use new oak in all of our wine, they'll sell them to
Sell
someone
them.
else at a
Yes.
discounted price because
Right.
everybody's always looking for oak.
Right.
And if you can get used neutral oak, right, there's something to be said about that. A lot of whiskeys have found a great marketing campaign for that reason. Like I think it was like Glenmorangie, for those of my whiskey drinkers who are out there, like me, whiskey helps. For those of my whiskey drinkers who are out there like me, like Glenmorangie bought some barrels from probably one of the best dessert wine producers in the world, Chateau de Cam. And
Oh.
and they age their scotch in Chateau de Cam barrels.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
And then they proceed to charge you like $2,500 per bottle. But for a geek like me, that would be something that'd be really fun. Like if I ever had an opportunity to try, that would be super cool because Chateau de Cam it's a kind of a unicorn wine. And so the used barrels that come from that house carry that stature with it. Like, oh, it's from Chateau de Cam, you know?
Yeah.
That was a really bad French impression. I'm so sorry.
I do have another question here. Let me get it up on the screen. From Eduardo, when should you aerate the wine versus pour straight? What is the recommendation for this?
That's
wine?
a great question. You want me to answer that?
Go for it, Joni.
Okay, so you know what? I was wondering that myself with this wine when I opened it up today. And I don't think you need to aerate this wine at all. It's delicious as soon as you pour it into your glass. So if you were to have a bottle of maybe the Brunello or many other wines that have spent a little bit more time in the barrel and the bottle, they may need to open up to kind of soften up a little bit and to fully express themselves. Is what happens with a little oxygen in the wine. But this wine right here, I would just go for it. I thought it was delicious right out of the gate.
Yeah, you pop the cork and you're good to go.
Yeah, and you don't have a lot of, I mean, you have some nice tannins. You have like sort of just right tannins that you don't really kind of want to mess with. You want to like, yeah, that's good. I like it a little chewy, but
yeah,
it's got beautiful fruit. I wouldn't want to lose any of the fruit by having it open to the air too much because the fruit's delicious. So yeah, I wouldn't do it on this wine.
And to elaborate on that, Eduardo, man, if you pop open a bottle and you take a sip and you're like, something's not quite right, something's not quite hitting me the way it should with this wine, right? Especially for something like okay, I'm gonna use a really, really this is on YouTube now, so it's gonna be there forever. I'm not knocking on anyone at all. But I want to say this, okay?
That's a scary
Opus
thought.
One is a really good example of a wine that benefits from age and from opening up because it is so big and bold and grippy. Like we have a sip of this and you feel a little bit of like that cottonmouth thing from the tannins, right? But Opus One is like you'll like straight up cottonmouth. It'll suck your lips right into your face, right? That's an example of a wine that would really benefit from age and or decanting and letting it breathe and open up. So let that be the guide for you guys. If you ever pop open a bottle and you're like, this isn't quite hitting me on the level that I want it to, try giving it a decant. That might help it open up a little bit. Sometimes me personally, like I don't even own a decanter. You guys are gonna laugh at me because I'm a som, but I'm kind of like the ghetto som in your life. I have poured a bottle into a pitcher to let it breathe and then poured it back into the bottle. So I double decanted it, right? By pouring it into one vessel and then pouring it back into the bottle and just giving it some air to breathe in between. And that helps for wines that are a little bit too big and too bold. There are some white wines that you can decant, but probably a little too geeky to really worry about, right? Like,
yeah,
I've had people ask me to decant some weird stuff at the kitchen. Like, I've had somebody ask me to decant like a dessert wine, and I was like, sure.
There's so much sugar
It's so much sugar, yeah. Like, and at the end of the night, like you've been drinking for like 4 hours at the kitchen, right? Like, it's no. Yeah, I'll decant that dessert wine for you. Whatever makes you happy, sir.
Of course, you do decant aged port.
You
But
do.
there's a whole other reason for that.
Right. Again, right? So different, there's always going to be like specific scenarios where
Right.
like, hey, this could benefit from opening up. To answer your question, again, in a nutshell, if you pop it open and you feel like it's missing something, decant it.
Yeah,
Okay?
there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. You'll buy
Okay.
that, right?
I do
All
have
right,
another
But I
question
would go
here.
with this one. This
Yeah,
delicious right
go
out
with
the
this
box.
one. All right, Jordan, hit us with the next question.
So I've got a question here from Mallory.
Mallory.
My wine bottle says Martoccia. Is that the same
Oh,
as
yeah.
Brunelli?
Yes. This is a good question. What's
Yes.
the name of this wine? Is that what the question is?
It's wine. Yeah, that's a good
Is that
question.
what her question is?
I think so. It's she asked if it's the same as Brunello. No, it is not the same as Brunello.
Oh, right.
So
No.
Joni, what does Martoccia mean? Why is that on the label?
Okay, well, it's the Martoccia family. Okay, that's the family. But okay, so here's the thing: is it's Martoccia di Brunelli, not Brunello. So the family is Martoccia di Brunelli. That's the name of the family.
Right. The winemaker's name is Luca Brunelli, not to be confused with
That's right.
Brunello.
That's right. We're not trying to confuse you at all here.
Totally. Drink some more. Everything will be fine. That sounded really creepy as soon as I said it, and I apologize.
No, I wondered that myself when I first got this wine in our book. I said, okay, wait a minute, Brunello. I'm very confused. But yeah, the family's name. So there's an ancient part. Martoccia is generations, and then Brunelli is their name now. So it's Martoccia di Brunelli.
Okay.
That's the family name and the winery name. And his name is Luca Brunelli. That's
Luca
the
Brunelli.
winemaker. But it's Brunello. So the bottle of their Brunello is actually called Brunello de Montalcino. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very confusing, but yes, it does make sense.
But they try to kind of separate it a little bit by
tried to
calling
make
this
it cute.
the
They tried to
Poggio Apricale.
Yeah, they tried to make their Brunello really cute by calling it Brunelli de Montalcino, which I see and I respect and I love them.
Yeah.
Is this 100% Sangio?
No, it is not.
Okay, what else goes in here?
It has a little bit of Merlot,
Okay, cool.
which we're very familiar with.
Yep.
The percentage is, I want to say 85% Sangio and 15% Brunello, but it seems like there's a third grape in there, wasn't there? So let me look at it. Oh yeah, 10% Merlot.
Yeah. There you go.
85 Sangio, 10 Merlot, and then 5% Colorino.
Very cool. Very colorino.
Colorino. Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. So tasting notes, right? So I smell a lot of sour cherry on the nose. Also, it's very rustic. Like it's super earthy.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of a barnyard funk, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
And like, yeah, it's not like Bordeaux, but like it has a little hint of barnyard funk, which for me is like
A good thing.
I think is this is a very professional wine tasting term called dope. I think it's dope. Also, quick note, guys, Joni is so funny. In an attempt to connect with me more, in some emails lately,
around you, and it just started coming out
she's been hanging
naturally.
out with me more. Yeah, she's been hanging out with me more, right? So in a couple of emails recently, like Joni threw out, she was like, "Oh, this would be something dope to do," and I was like, "Joni is Joni's really throwing it out there, man. She's really trying to get us to connect, but we already connected. We don't.
I'm a chameleon.
I like it.
That kind of ties into this comment from Nora. Joni is awesome. She needs to ride shotgun more often. You're awesome too, Tesh, but everybody already knows that.
This is not wine talk with Joni. God damn it! What the hell? Look, there's a reason why.
Start a show, Tesh.
Absolutely no. This is why I had Joni on, guys. And Auntie Nora, thank you for saying that because so a lot of people do these virtual wine tastings, right? One, they don't supply you the wine. And I feel like that really misses the mark. What's the point of
I agree.
if I can't taste? what you are describing. It really takes away from it. The second thing is I've in case you haven't noticed, I've been really hesitant to have guests on because I think I've had one other guest, Sarah Wilkerson, and Sarah's awesome. So she's an exception to the rule here too. But like I've seen a lot of virtual tastings, and again, I'm not knocking on my winemakers, but they have a tendency to be really
Detail oriented.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Detail oriented. Thank you, Joni, for the more professional terms. Um, they're very detail oriented, and it gets a little dry, right? So we
Yeah.
wanted it to be fun. I need it to be fun because wine is fun. Wine is for cracking open with
So
friends.
the first
And
thing,
yeah,
I did is I told Tesh, it's like, we've got all these winemakers. I can actually get you hooked up with the original winemaker to do one of your Tesh talks. So, and he's like, yeah, I don't think so, Joni. I'd rather have you do it.
real talk.
So
That's
I,
literally the way that conversation happened.
I appreciate that. And I get it too. I mean, we've all been to many of those presentations. So we do both know,
Totally,
can be.
totally.
There is a rare exception, but even so, they've spent so much time working on that wine. They want to tell you about it.
They do.
And some people want to know all of that, but a lot of us are not really that. We don't need to know all of that.
Listen, I'll always try and hit you guys with the geeky stuff, right? Like I want you to know the percentages of the grape that goes into it. I want you to know what the aging process is of the wine and why it's unique and what makes the wine special. But ultimately, I really want you to like the wine,
Right.
right?
That's,
Um,
we want you to love wine.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So like, yeah, actually, so just for clarification, for those of you guys who have purchased the Gota de Arena Tempranillo from Joni, from those of you guys who have purchased the Béchot Lemoine Champagne, which if you haven't picked up yet, I have 6 bottles left of. Get that. That champagne's amazing. That's from Joni. What else? The Carmel Road, single vineyard, first row. It doesn't get more specific than that Pinot Noir. It's amazing. That's also from Joni. Joni has an
Not very
incredible
much left of
portfolio.
that one though.
Say that
Remember,
again.
there's not very much left of that Carmel Road first row
There's
one.
not. I have 10 bottles left.
Okay, that's
So
good.
yeah, and I picked up 2 cases from you like a week ago. So yeah, it's going quickly. People really love that wine. Um, I'm not trying to sell it. I'm just letting you know facts.
I know.
Okay. Oh, so going back to this wine. So when I recommended, first of all, real quick, did anybody make a tomato garlic sauce out there? Let us know in the comments if you did. If you didn't, that's okay. If you just had steak, that's cool. I want to know how it's pairing because I think that this is a great wine for steak, especially for being as young as it is, right? It's not super bold and grippy, but it still has just enough to offer to you in terms of like the earthiness and the rustic charm that this wine has. It's kind of like forest flory, like if you will, like, and I know that sounds really weird, but like if you could just imagine you're walking through the forest floor and you pick up a handful of mud and leaves and you just stick it in your face.
And
And
everybody loves that experience.
doesn't everybody love that?
Mhm.
If you haven't done it, get it together. All right. Joni, what
Oh,
else
yeah,
you
I
got
want
for
to
us?
say something
Oh, okay.
about the wine pairing because you brought up something
Hmm.
that I think is really important when it comes to pairing these wines with you said steak and then you said you suggested maybe a
I suggested a tomato garlic like sauce to go on top of the steak.
yeah. Okay, see, I think that's really good because first of all, Italian wine is really made to go with Italian food.
100%.
I mean, it's the wines that they make in the villages where they cook, the foods that are known for that area, and the wines just so happen to also be the perfect, pairing for the wines that are in the village, right? So if you're in pretty good shape if you have a recipe that's from Tuscany, that has lots of tomato sauce or like a bolognese sauce. You're pretty safe to get a Tuscan wine, which is what this is. Um,
Totally.
and I was telling Tesh, when I was really new to to wine. I was young, in my 20s, and I was married, and my husband and I made good food, and we wanted to have some good wine with our food, and we were not doing a very good job of finding wines that went well with the tomato sauce. We didn't, we were trying Zinfandel and Cabernet, and which we loved those wines, but they weren't quite doing it for us. So we went to a wine shop and said, we're having trouble pairing our wine with our food with the red sauce with a wine. What goes with tomato sauce? Because we were just kind of stupid and we didn't think about it. And they said,
You wouldn't know unless you've ever
maybe.
tried it, right? Or unless somebody pointed you in the right
person
direction.
said, maybe you should try an Italian wine because your tomato sauce is an Italian dish, and they probably have figured it out. They've been doing that a long time. So they suggested Sangiovese, any of the, mostly Sangiovese, but any Italian res is probably going to go with tomato sauces if they have it in there. Anyway, they were absolutely right. So ever since then, I mean, this would make a great wine for pizza with tomato sauce, your basic Tuesday night dinner, bolognese sauce, pasta and bolognese sauce, anything that has that kind of rich, but also the tomato. Sangiovese is the perfect pairing for that.
I agree. Y'all know, you guys have seen me. If you follow me on Instagram, you know I love pizza and wine, right? And clearly, if you've seen me in person, you really know I love pizza and wine. But the whole point though is that, like, if you got like a meat lover's pizza, ooh wee, with this wine,
I am
killer.
Yeah.
But I wanted you to be fancy, and because I recommended shrimp scampi for the other wine, I was like, yo, if you're making scampi, you got to make steak. Like, you
There you
can't.
go, surf and turf.
Surf and turf, dude.
I
Is
did
there
that.
anything else that we didn't touch on this wine?
I don't think so. We covered a lot.
We did.
Mhm.
All right, guys. I think we're going to wrap it up. Jeez. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Joni, thank you so much for
No, it was really
participating
fun.
and being here, for supplying the wine, and for bringing all of your knowledge to the plate about these two particular wines. And thanks for making it fun too. We appreciate you
No,
very much.
I mean, that's why I want to do it, because your things are always so much fun. I thought it would be pretty cool. So thank you so much. I love what you're doing, Tesh.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, guys. My birthday is on Friday. Okay. And I don't know if y'all know this, but I'm a little conceited. Somebody asked me, why'd you name it Wine with Tesh? And I was like, because man, like, I like, it's me, baby. It's what I got to do. Also, I found it incredibly adorable. A couple months ago, Eliza she set up a couple of boxes and a book and a stack of diapers, and she put the book on top and folded it up. And she's sitting in the corner, she's playing, and she was like, hi everyone, welcome to Wine with Eliza. And I was like, oh my God, like, this is so dope. So for those of you who don't know, Eliza is my 5-year-old daughter. She is now 6. And it was just the most adorable thing ever. And it was really, really cool. So yeah, thank you guys for the support. Please tell your friends about winewithtesh.com. Tell them how we're trying to have fun with it. Tell them about all the cool stuff that you're popping open and you're drinking. Okay.
Picking out some really, really cool wines. He really is.
Yeah, thank you. And for those of you who are trying to find like hard to find or specific stuff, right? Joni and I we just had a meeting about it today. We're talking about getting our hands on some like extremely highly rated rare wines. So if you're in the market for those things, stay tuned because they are coming. Okay. All right, guys. Next Wine Talk with Tesh. The wines are already up on the webpage. Click on Wine Talk at the very top, and it'll show you which wines you need to purchase. I think we're doing the Perlage Prosecco, and we're doing Domaine des Hauts Troglodytes, which is a Cabernet Franc. Both of those wines are going to be amazing, and I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Once again, shout out to Jordan. Check him out at Home Bar Pro, at Home Bar Pro. Go find it, like it, show him some love. That's my dude. Okay. I love you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the wine. I hope you guys enjoyed your food. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Okay. Thanks a lot, guys.
Bye.
Much love.
Bye, guys.